Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's AMA. So we're just going to wait a minute here. Luke is probably about to leak something on his account, and then we will chat a little bit more about it on this live space, and then it will be deleted from his account right after. So make sure you're tuning in and tell everyone else to come and tune in if they want to hear some alpha. But yeah, we'll wait a couple more minutes here. Luke has just joined us, and then we can get started. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the mechanics, this exciting thing that Luke is leaking, and answer any of your questions you have. So please tag a community team member in your questions on the general chat. And as always, if you want to come up and chat with us here on stage, please just request to speak, and we're happy to have you up here with us. Okay, I think we can get started. Luke, are you there?
Yep, here. Let's get to it. Excited.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, do you want to just chat a little bit about the little leak we have here, a little alpha?
Yeah, no. So there are a few things I want to go over today. Number one, I cannot describe my excitement about where we're at, how things have been moving, and I'm just like, I don't know, everything that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. It's all coming together now. People are noticing. People are taking a good look at us, and it's really refreshing to see that. So overall, the energy level of the team is super high. Number one, we get to see all of our work come together. So this team has been working so insanely hard for the last 6 months to go and build a game from the ground up. And here we are, pretty close to getting it out and in the world to all of you guys. So couldn't be more proud of this team and this whole team. The energy's just been really, really good over the last month. So yeah, really excited. And then we've been talking to a lot of, we're going kind of into fundraising mode too. We've been talking to a lot of funds, a lot of other games, and a lot of other people in this space. And if you guys aren't aware, we've been building really, really fast. That's kind of our specialty as a team. We can build high quality products really, really quick. And it's pretty evident to everybody now in this space of just how insane this pace has been that we've been developing at. A lot of the other gaming companies that got funding around the same time as us, they're still a year out from shipping. They are so far away from shipping a game, and they'll probably make good games in a year. But here we are. This team has been working smart. They've been working hard, and they've been working very, very well. And now we're ready to actually go and ship a game to you guys quite soon. So just this pace alone has been opening up a ton of doors for us. You guys wouldn't believe some of the people that we're talking to who are interested in investing, interested in moving on to the next steps. The current state of this project, I couldn't be happier with it. I'm just really proud of this team. I feel super lucky to be working with everybody. So I just have to throw that out there. But yeah, tons of alpha coming up with all of that. One thing I want to go over today is I wanted to talk about the airdrop and what we're doing with that, give you guys a bit more info on that. I leaked a photo of this dashboard that's coming out. And then I also wanted to go over a bit of the game mechanics that we're working on too and kind of describe to you what the future of the game is going to look like, because you know a bit more about it after seeing all these pieces coming together. So yeah, if you look at that pinned tweet at the top of the AMA, you can see something that I just shared. It's a sneak peek of how we're going about the airdrop and how we're gamifying it. It took me so long to figure out how I wanted to describe to people in a really concise way. Hey, you're getting rewarded for your work, you're getting rewarded for your loyalty, and we appreciate you having been here, and we want to make sure that that's known, and also describe to people, hey, here are the things that you can do to be even more included, and here are things that you can do to actually increase the airdrop that you're going to get to. So you want to gamify this whole process. So we came up with this badge system essentially. So we're going to read all of your data that you've been giving us while you're playing the game, and it's not personally identifying. Don't worry. Unless you want to give us things like your email or things like that, then we'll actually add that to the your bonuses. But no personally identifying information is required in order to unlock the airdrop. But yeah, we've been collecting all this data about your farming habits, about your holding habits, like how long you've been holding, when you sold it, if you held on to it from the very beginning, if you minted it, things like that. And we're going to be rewarding you guys for that. Number one, I want to really reward people who minted and held. I think that's the coolest thing. If you minted this project from the very beginning, from the day one, and you're still here, you're listening to the AMA, you're with us now, that to me is the most loyal person that you could have been. Or maybe you just forgot about the project and you're just holding on to it for that reason. But either way, we really appreciate all of that. And that'll be one of the things that you get rewarded for. So if you can see in that sneak peek, we're coming up with a bunch of different badges that will give you points towards this airdrop. And then you'll also see the badges that you don't have unlocked. So we'll also be adding in social features as well too that will really, we think, will blow up this airdrop. So here's something that's coming up, which is a bit of alpha, and we're only going to do it once. The people on this AMA will know, so be ready for that. We will have one tweet coming out sometime. Either it'll probably be next week, most realistically. We'll have some tweet that we post saying, "This is the one tweet. If you like it, retweet it, share it, do all of the above, you'll get airdrop points. You'll be eligible for the airdrop." So that's coming out. That'll be one of the badges there, and then we'll also do some things like referral systems and all of that too to really expand the reach of this. So, for example, if you invite friends to the like open alpha that we have now, you'll get more airdrop points, things like that. We want to make this very shareable, and we want to make it so you can instantly see if the work that you're doing benefits you in the airdrop as well too. So that's the one thing as well too. This airdrop dashboard, it's going to be crucial for our growth leading up to the release of the token. We want to make sure very, very obvious if you do something that helps us that you get to see that reward right away. So if you refer somebody, you'll see your airdrop points go up. You'll see all of that go up too. So you get instant validation that your help for us is being respected, and it'll be allocated into the airdrop. If you noticed on that sneak peek, you'll see that I wrote some text there saying, what to say, something like the top 20,000 people will get airdropped, and that's it. And that's true. So we have a wide criteria of things that can get you points for the airdrop. Day one of the airdrop, there will be 1,000 people with points bare minimum. So note that. Just because you have points on the airdrop tracker does not mean that you are going to make the airdrop. But I will say, just to give you guys all the assurance, if you own land, if you play the game, you're going to be fine. We're going much broader with the airdrop. We want to be targeting people who maybe haven't heard of this game yet and haven't heard of this ecosystem. So we're kind of moving into the next phase. We said we were going to do this for a long time, right? We always said, hey, we consider ourselves sleeping giants. You know, when it's time to grow, it's time to grow. But we don't want to do that until we're ready. We don't want to get in front of people until we're ready. And I can confidently say now we're at a stage of being ready. So we're getting ready for a public token sale. We're getting ready for a blockchain-backed release of the game. And we really do intend to be one of the best blockchain-backed games on release currently out. And really think we're on track for that. Again, I keep doing audits of the space. I keep coming back. I keep seeing other games. And the level of quality that we're releasing isn't really the level of quality that we want in the long term. But releasing in a month and a half will still put us as, I can honestly say, I think we're going to be the best blockchain game out there in terms of gameplay, in terms of variety, in terms of feeling like an actual game. But the long-term vision of this game is going to be even better too. So it's not going to be like the level of quality and standard that we completely want in the long term. But for the state of the space, we'll be in a pretty good position. So now, all that being said is, I'm saying this because we're ready to grow. And we think this airdrop dashboard is going to be the key to doing that up until the release of the game. In the meantime, as we prep for the launch, we'll also probably release a few other things to make sure that the product's even stickier up into release. For example, we are redesigning Terra Villa, the initial starting map that you come into. I get to walk around it right now, and I can tell you it looks amazing. This art team that we have, it's a top tier pixel art team. It's super, super awesome to be working with them. And the work that they've done is actually insane. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. Heidi, have you walked through the new Terra Villa yet?
I was just on a call with Tyler yesterday, and he was showing me all of it. So yes, I've walked around the new Terra Villa, but also like the other parts, the in-between parts, all of the things. It's just so exciting.
Looks good. It looks good, right?
So good.
Yeah. Not that, no, I will say our current Terra Villa, our current art style that you guys see right now, I don't love it. This next stuff, it's like 10 times better. So we're super excited to get it out. I keep teasing like 32 by 32 pixel squares of some of the art. If you guys are in the Discord, you get to see it a bit. But yeah, we'll try to release that.
It's barely a leak.
Yeah, it's more just messing around. But yeah, we'll try to release that before the release of the beta. I'm gonna push for that really hard. It should be a safe thing to do. But the artists might push back. But I think it's gonna be worth it in terms of retention and in terms of stickiness as we're pushing for this big growth thing. So also feel free to ask questions about the airdrop tracker, post in the Discord. We'll answer these after we get to the next set of things too. So I want to go and touch a bit on like the next generation of gameplay and explain to you guys a new mechanic that we've been working on that you guys haven't seen yet, and kind of explain to you what the difference will be in terms of gameplay, why the game will be better moving forward, and the ideas behind that. So we are essentially creating this new mechanic called industries. And that's kind of the core of the game. If you've read the white paper, you've seen a very high level description of it. The game design team has done a good job of getting that more nailed down, and they have a pretty good picture of what it looks like now, and we're actually implementing those stages right now. So industries is basically a whole new set of resources that you can be generating on your farm, and they're basically different. We call them nodes. They're different blocks of things you can place down that generate different resources that you can level up, you can upgrade, and you can generate other resources for. So one of the best examples of what an industry would be is I use the apiary one a lot. That would be basically the first stage of an industry in that sense would be a beehive that you can place down on your farm. And this beehive, the first stage of it, where it's starting to get leveled up, it would basically just generate honey like once a day. So you would check on the beehive, it would generate honey once a day. You come back to it, and it's like kind of works like a crop. But the cool thing about industries that's different than what you see right now is that the industries level up, and they're actually associated with your NFT farm, your map, rather than with your players. So if other people are coming onto your farm, and you're not doing anything, you can level up your industry as well too. It's all about usage, and it's like a separate set of skills compared to your individual skills that get leveled up. And as you level up these industries, like apiary, beekeeping is one of them, you'll get more and more opportunity available with these industries. So at like level 10, for example, if you're really into the beekeeping industry, you'll get an opportunity to upgrade your dairy industry. It'll require some kind of sync, like 100 logs or something from another industry. And you'll be able to upgrade it, and this resource will become more productive. It might become more active. It might require some kind of maintenance. Also generate a type of resource, like beeswax, for example. And that can be used in other industries too. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating this web of interconnected industries that are all going to need each other in some other way to level up and progress through the game. And the cool thing is early on, you'll actually only be able to get a certain industries placed on each farm. It'll be dependent on land size early on. So you'll only be able to put like 2 or 3 industries, maybe 4 on a piece of land, and you'll have to make choices on what you want to level up, what you want your farm to be productive with, and you'll actually probably have to visit other farms or form a guild or do things like that in order to fully build out your industries and fully level them up. Because if you were only to focus on 1 or 2 industries like apiary, wood cutting, all of that, you might not have the resources to level them up properly or progress through them properly. So that's kind of the early form of what we're going to be doing. We want to create this really cool interconnected web of resources that you gather and trade with and get from other people. So exciting stuff with that. One of the core concepts, and the whole idea is we want to, 1, encourage discoverability, 2, encourage trading and socializing through the need of other resources, and then 3, encourage progression and syncs of resources while you level these up. And the cool thing is we get to attach like leveling to the NFTs that you own as well, the farms that will stay with the NFT. So that's kind of what's going on in that area too. So lots of updates with gameplay, lots of updates with the airdrop, and I think that's probably enough of me rambling for now. If anybody has questions, I'm more than willing to dive into either of these. If somebody has a question about the airdrop, if somebody has questions about histories or future game mechanics, what those look like, feel free to ask and we can get into it.
Okay, cool. So we already have a ton of questions. So we can just dive right in. I will just say this again. If you do have any questions, please head over to our Discord general chat and make sure you tag the community team in the questions, just because we record them in another channel so that we don't miss any. Also, if you want to come up live on stage with us and have a conversation, we'd love to have you. So please just hit request. So first question, how long until we can expect guild features in game?
Yeah, so guild features getting built in game will be after chapter 1, but we want to facilitate or make it so that guilds are almost necessary for some of the game features, working together with people. So that's kind of the idea behind industries, where you actually won't be able to get all the resources you need to by yourself, and you'll need to work with other people in order to progress. So that's a cool thing about blockchain backing, right? If we blockchain back a game, we actually get trading and all of that built into the game without us having to do anything. So we will try to build more and more of these features in game as we can. Honestly, maybe we'll hit up Dion being like, hey, like these are the things that are coming, and this is how you can maybe facilitate guild stuff better. But also there's some advantages on our end in order to just kind of see how things work out. so we can see how the guilds are actually using these processes and kind of build around that too. Like almost exactly like what Dion did. If you guys have seen pixels-tools.club, he built a tool just for his guild, but he also opened it up to other people where they get to see all their farms. They get to do what do they call them loops? Do they call them? They have a special name for it, but essentially they've linked together a large number of farms, and that's how they efficiently farm. We want to encourage stuff like that. And we want to kind of build guild features around that. And seeing Dion's implementation of how he supports guilds in the current state helps us a ton because it's like, oh, this is probably stuff that we built from the beginning. But it's nice to see our community build that kind of stuff too. So the idea is we want to make game mechanics that kind of force social features, and then we'll actually support those social features as we see them develop and as we get more information on how you guys are playing the game. But the idea is get the game out first.
Okay, next question here. How are the internal testings done in Pixels?
Yeah, we have a pretty complex DevOps situation. So we have a bunch of different environments essentially. So we have a development environment, we have a preview environment, we have a staging environment, we have a production environment. This is pretty standard in enterprise software, but even then, I've worked with a bunch of enterprise software companies. This is like pretty in line with what you can expect from like the top dogs in terms of DevOps, with all these different environments and how we go about promoting data. I would say we're pretty on top of this in terms of a startup. I've never worked at a startup with a DevOps setup like this, but essentially what this means is we have different environments for testers to test on, and different data environments too. So we even have unique data for each environment. So we have a preview environment where we're testing out all these new features that you guys don't get to see yet. That's where we're testing out things like the industries. That's where we're testing out new UI early on. And then we have another environment called staging, which is an environment where we're doing a lot of testing before we push to production. And that should be identical to production. We even copy production data over into staging, except it's a separate database, it's separate data, all that. All to say is we have QA testers that work in all of these environments. We're pretty thorough on this. And if you guys have noticed, every time we ship, it's much less buggy than from a couple of months ago even. It's because we're really nailing down these processes.
Okay, sorry, I'm just tweeting something that someone said in general because I loved it. They were asking who else is farming while listening to the AMA. Nothing better than that. Okay, next question here. How many badges are made for the dashboard?
Yeah, we're gonna make a lot. So that's also the other thing too. We're gonna be adding badges as we move up to the date as well too. I want to add some kind of news section, and then some kind of notification system would be great too. But the idea is we'll get the first ones out really early on, and then there might be other things we want to add. One, it helps us get the dashboard out quicker if we add them as we go, and then two, it lets us adjust some things too. So if we're like, oh, we should give a badge to the top farmer, the number one farmer. That's something that we can do later if we decide to do something silly like that. If we have a contest being like, or like a giveaway or something like that, we can do giveaways for this airdrop, where it's like 5 people from a tweet or something like that get a certain badge. There's a lot of stuff that we can keep adding and gamifying. The idea is we want to make this a fun experience. We want to make it really transparent into how you're receiving this airdrop before you even get it, which I've never seen anybody do something like this. I think we're kind of unique in this, and a lot of work to set it up, but I think it's going to pay off.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Rookie mistake. Okay, next question. What does it take to get to the top to get the top farmer badge?
Yeah. So the top farmer I was going to set as like top 5%. So we'll do a percentage.
Okay, cool. Next question then. What's Pixel's vision after Chapter 1, and what's its kind of final state?
Yeah, we take like an MMO approach to how we're developing, where we don't see this as like a one and done game. So there's different approaches to game studios, right? Some people make games and they're just intended to like hit or miss, and then you move on to the next game. That's not our approach with this. We're taking more of the MMO approach, where we're just going to keep building it out. More of like a Clash of Clans, or more of a Farmville kind of approach, where the game hopefully keeps growing as we make the game better and better, as we expand to more and more audiences, and we want long-lasting stay. We don't want to be a like 2-month wave and then die out. The key behind that one in the blockchain space is making sure you have sustainable economics. Two is making sure the game is fun. It's pretty interesting though, the blockchain space, right? Where there's quality games who aren't sustainable and aren't fun, and they're still relevant somehow. So clearly, there's something different about the blockchain gaming space than there is a normal gaming space. In normal gaming, it's like Jetpack Joyride, if you remember that. They hit really hard, but then who plays that now? Not many people. That's like the typical life cycle of a game where you can expect to be on a chart for like a month or two, and then you die, then you make the next game. Um, we don't intend for that. We're in this for the long term, and it's just fun to build out one game. That's kind of the holy grail of gaming in general. Like every game developer wants to make a title that lasts forever. Just hard to do.
Okay, did Pixel set up its own servers or was it an outsourced service?
Yeah, so we did all of our own infrastructure for a long time. I actually set it up. We were on, if you guys want me to get all technical about it, we're on Kubernetes. I actually invented some of the technology here, where we were actually one of the first use cases of gaming on Kubernetes in browser. That was really unique tech I built out back in 2020. That allowed us to do a lot of the really cool spatial video chat stuff in browser. Tons of work to get that done. I still have people messaging me to this day asking me how I did that in several like DevOps infrastructure groups that I'm in. I never gave away the secret sauce. But essentially, yeah, we built all that from scratch at one point, and then we realized we might not need to do this from scratch anymore. Um, I wanted the team to focus on building out game features rather than maintaining infrastructure, and we found a partner who built essentially the same tech that I had built the year before, 2 years before, and turned that into a product. I don't want to give away that sauce either, but essentially we're working with a partner in a managed way where they manage our infrastructure. It's exactly how we had built it before, except now we don't have to worry about outages because if stuff goes out, it's their fault, not our fault. And it's just a huge headache off the team where we would have to basically have hired a full person on full-time DevOps, or it would be me still, because I had that pretty unique knowledge and insight on that. And I think you would rather have me growing the game. You would probably rather have me doing all of that than sitting on a Kubernetes cluster, just monitoring that all the time and being anxious about that.
I remember all that. That feels like so long ago now. Oh man. Okay. Does the land keep the industry upgrades after it's sold?
Yeah, we want to keep that. I think that's cool. That's kind of a cool part of blockchain gaming, right? Where we were debating what we attach to NFTs in terms of progress. Our team didn't love the transfer skills to the account, but to the land, it makes total sense. So we're keeping it to the land. So there's actually two sets of skills. If you own land, your land has its own skills, and each land will have its own skill set too. So you have multiple lands. That might be some decisions you have to make on like which one you want to give attention to in terms of leveling up. Um, or if you want to add managers that level up for you, things like that. But then those will transfer with the NFTs.
Okay. How many industries are there going to be in chapter one?
Yeah, so I think we want to get a lot. So the industries, there's so much potential for a ton. We're going to keep them basic in functionality, but we want to get more out. And these are things that the industries we've done in a way where we don't need to do them in huge release cycles in the same way that we do these first features right now. Like we can add 5 industries a week if we want to, like really focus on pumping them out eventually. But the idea is we don't want to do too many, but we want a lot of choices. We want to make that kind of a part of the game to kind of figure out how you want to use resources and make as big of a web as we can. Um, there's some debate on the game design side of things of like how far do we want to go horizontally versus vertically, meaning like do we want to do like a lot of industries and like spread out the disciplines that way, or do we want to kind of focus on like a vertical section, like make mining really nuanced? But imagine industries is like not just necessarily point and click in the long term. Imagine an industry like fishing. So fishing will be an industry soon. That probably won't make chapter one, like the initial release date of chapter one, but that might be something that we add partway through chapter one. But fishing will be one where you go to a lake and it's one of these industries where you get a fishing pole, you like do a normal fishing mini game. But essentially the idea is long term we want to add nuance and depth to the industries and make them all more mini game like rather than just like resource management. So there'll be levels of skill involved with them. There will be more interaction, just like the farming that we have right now. But the idea is we want to get these resources and set the base economy out first, and then add more depth as we go.
Okay, next question. If the upgrades are linked to the NFT instead of the wallet, after a while, there will be no more lands to upgrade, which takes that gaming experience of players buying upgraded land. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the idea is there's going to be a lot of industries coming out, and you'll be able to continue to level them up. Right now, we have a level cap at 100 for each map skill, but maybe that increases. That's a pretty common issue with games that like is kind of solved. I don't like the term power creep, but eventually that is kind of a reality in games like RuneScape. You see it where the best items in the game 10 years ago are different than the best items in the game now. Like if you remember in like 2007, if you played RuneScape, the Abyssal Whip was insane. That was like the thing to get. If you saw somebody walking around with an Abyssal Whip, they were like a god. And now that's like one of the easiest items to get in game. Not necessarily that's like a good thing, but that's typically how games progress. A bit of like changing of scope and creep, and that's what you kind of want in an economy too. So people see it as a bad thing sometimes, and in the current economy, you can see how inflation is a bad thing, but also inflation is sometimes a good thing for the economy because it does allow economies to grow and to change and to reflect like a better quality of life. So we'll solve those issues when they come. But that's definitely a solvable issue. Lots of games figure this out, and it's not something that we aren't capable of figuring out as well too.
Okay, next question. There's been a little lag this week with the dashboard dropping soon and with competition about to get sweaty. See this lag going away long term in the near future?
Lag in terms of the actual gameplay,
Yeah,
or
so
lag.
the recent issue in the last few days with like the general store not being accessible and stuff.
Oh, yeah, so unfortunately, that is an infrastructure problem. But the nice thing is the team that's handling the infrastructure are looking into that. So it's unfortunately a bit out of our hands. We're debugging it with them. It has to do with load balancing not working properly. So the infra that we have is really complex, guys. It's MMO technology in a different way than most MMOs even do it, where we can spontaneously have the rooms, scale it back. We don't need to do all these dedicated servers. It's quite efficient for what we're able to get out of it. But then I did run into an issue with the load balancing service, and it's not reckoning that a server is there, and it's not creating a new one in certain situations. We're looking into that. We have a whole team behind it, and our lead developers on top of it too.
Okay, and I only have a couple more questions lined up. So if you have any lingering last minute ones, please go to general chat and throw them in there right away. Okay. Are we able to rent the land?
Rent it out, or do you know the
I am not
nuance?
sure of the context, but maybe
Mhm.
you can speak to like the different types of land that are going to be available.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out if you guys look at the sharecropper system, that's one thing that we want in the long term. We want to do NFT rentals on our own, and we actually want to make it so you could like divvy up pieces of the land. But I don't think that's going to make chapter one. If I'm being realistic, it won't. It's not making chapter one. Um, but we are doing free land, if that makes sense. So we want to make it so that free to play players can come in. We don't want it to devalue the land you have, though. So free to play land won't be able to access any industries. They'll have to come on to the NFT land in order to access industries and get resources they actually need. But they'll be able to like put out customizables on their land, make it feel a bit like their own, aka more like Farmville, Animal Crossing style. We have been talking to a lot of um, NFT rental tooling that's possible. So that might be something that we provide to people, where you can actually rent NFTs to people. We also have that manager system in the game, um, where you can add managers to your farms and let them customize it, let them build on top of it, etc. But for now, I think this might be a problem that's best not for us to solve in the short term. And if we're hearing that people really want that, that might be something that we look into using a partner's tech for.
Okay. Will industries vary per land type?
Yeah, so the we have it in engine right now that you can only there are restrictions that we can place on industries. We can make it so that some industries are only available to be placed on some land types. I really want to do that, and I'm going to push that more. I think the game design team needs to remember that as we're designing these industries. The whole idea over the next month and a half is basically pump out industries, get more what we call nodes in the game and more things to do. The tech that we have lets us do that all no code. We can build new industries without writing any code. So it's really all up to the designers and how they want to implement these. Yeah, technically it's possible for us to restrict industries to certain land types, specifically space, water, and land. And we can even make industries more productive based on a certain type of land. Like if you had a water land and you have a fishing industry, maybe it's more productive. Things like that too. So that'll be respected.
Okay. How are bots going to be sorted out of the airdrop?
There's ways to do it. I can't say, but there are ways to do it. If I said, then people might
Good point.
people might game that.
Good point. Okay. Is the dashboard ready for this week?
So the thing that's going to make it data is all the data that we can get on it. If you look at it, that's real code. That's not Figma. So it's almost ready. Believe me, I want to get this out ASAP. It's kind of my fault for it not being ready because I'm the one that's coding this one. This is my first time coding in a while, guys. You gotta give me a break. I'm slow now. I'm not what I once was. So if you want to get angry at anybody if it's not out, blame me. But otherwise, it's coming out soon. It's coming out very, very soon, and we're excited for it.
So excited for it. All right. What's Pixel's vision of interoperability in the coming chapters?
Oh, we love interoperability at Pixels, and Heidi said it so well right there.
Thank
So
you. I was trying to
give
just
her
be
some
like cool,
props.
chill with it. Anyways.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we're actually opening up our integrations. So I think we talked about this in the previous AMA, where we've been doing all these integrations for these collections, as in you can bring your avatar that you already own, or an NFT that you already own into our game as an avatar. What we want to do is we want to push interoperability in that sense. So we actually want to kind of open source these NFT integrations and let other games use our avatar system. So that's a cool thing about interoperability that we want to kind of share to the space. And the second thing that we're doing is we're interoperable with land and other tokens as well too. So if you guys have been following the project, you'll see that we're integrating Gridcraft and we're integrating NewCyber, and they'll actually be able to use their tokens in our ecosystem alongside our Pixel token as well too. So we kind of get to share user bases, we get to share infrastructure, share technology, and then we get to have a shared Pixel token between all the universes, which you guys who are playing the game now and who are paying attention to this airdrop dashboard are going to get airdropped.
Cool. Okay. Can we expect OpenCV verification in the coming push?
Oh my gosh, I really hope so. I've been emailing their team back and forth. They want something from us that's kind of difficult for us to get now. So there's a big rabbit hole I need to chase down. It's pretty frustrating since, yeah, we're an OpenCV portfolio company. Like their venture arm invested in us. So we're working on that with them. And we're trying to see if they can give us some leniency on a certain area. But yeah, I've been emailing their team back and forth. We're talking.
Okay, and this one came from Penguin, which I absolutely love this one. You ready? What's the worst idea Luke has seen the game design team come up with so far?
Oh, yikes. What? Oh, I mean, I was gonna be like, I haven't seen any bad ideas, but I definitely have seen bad ideas. Not bad ideas, just ideas that maybe we shouldn't do. Um, Early on in the game design era, when we were designing out this game, it's funny because the game design team refers to this era as the Dark Ages themselves. um, they were trying to figure out like what exactly is a pixels from a narrative perspective. What are we building here? What's the story? Why are people here? Why are people here? And they were obsessed with this one quest line involving like some kind of body bag or some kind of dead body or like a talking corpse. I think it was like a weekend at Bernie's kind of thing, maybe. But we remember me and our producer Tyler heard that and we're like, wait a second, guys, what's going on here? This is maybe not on brand for what we're trying to do. That doesn't seem so farmer friendly. So the narrative got crazy at one point. And we kind of toned it back down to being more on brand, but that was funny. I don't know. If there's been any bad game design ideas, they probably have come from me though.
Oh my god. All right. Okay.
Oh,
Next. You got one?
well, I mean, I still maybe give us some feedback on this, guys, and then maybe tag Heidi in Discord if you think this is a good idea.
I know.
I really want to. I really want to add some kind of IRL stuff in the in-game store as what's that sigh for, Heidi?
Nothing. Go on. Go on.
I really want to add some IRL stuff in the in-game store. I think it would be hilarious to add real life pitchforks in the in-game store in exchange for coins as a thank you to our community. So if you guys think that's a good idea, let Heidi know.
Yeah,
And
great.
we can
Tag
send you the
me.
pitchforks.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. Okay, back to serious questions. Are we going to have a special golden rake-esque item for top 100 play to airdrop?
Yeah, so the golden rake, you'll get that in the airdrop as well. So some of you guys who have been here in the project early, you have special items in your inventory. Those will stay. Don't worry about that. If you have a Christmas tree, if you have a golden rake, if you have a Easter bunny statue, like those will get airdropped to you as actual NFTs. So that's pretty fun, right? And then we'll probably do some other fun things like that too. The cool thing about the airdrop is we don't just have the tokens. We can also airdrop rare items, which we want to take advantage of that because I just think that's a fun thing to do. And yeah, we'll definitely have some special surprises like that.
Okay, and last question I have here. Tool is going to be blockchain. Thought on blacksmith industry making our own tools.
Yes, yes. Okay, this isn't something I've talked about with the team too much, but this is something I want to do. So this is all very theoretical right now, but I think it's going to be potentially a really good sync of the pixel token, where I think the pixel token should eventually be used to create your own in-game items. So we have tooling that lets our designers create new items, correct? Where you can add a new item to your inventory, like new items to place down. Our developers don't build any of our items, any of our objects anymore. It's all design driven. We have the tech. We actually can probably open this up to users eventually too, and add more elements of UGC, user generated content. I think it's a really interesting use case of our premium currency, the Pixel token. So look out for that. That's something I don't want to distract our development team from yet, but I think that's probably a direction I want to push us to.
Okay, well, that wraps up all of the questions we have today. So this has been really fun. I love when we do very like question oriented AMAs. So thank you all for your great questions. And of course, tag the community team in the Discord general chat if you have any more, and we will answer you shortly. Cool. Everyone's just with like random ideas for merch now. It's so funny. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.